Kael Vesper is on his knees in the center of a burning guild hall, blood dripping from his knuckles onto scorched marble floors. The bodies of elite enforcers are scattered around him like broken dolls, their expensive armor doing nothing to save them. Smoke rises from their corpses. The air reeks of burnt flesh and shattered dreams. 50 guild members surround him in a perfect circle, their weapons drawn, their faces twisted with fear and rage. They should rush him. They should end this. But nobody moves, because they all saw what he did to their brothers. They all know what happens when you touch him. A voice booms from the second-floor balcony, echoing through the ruined hall. "Return what you stole, rat. Return it now, or we burn this entire district to ash. Every man, woman, and child. Their blood will be on your hands." Kael lifts his head. His face is bruised, cut, bleeding. But he's smiling. Not the smile of someone who's winning. The smile of someone who's already taken everything and has nothing left to lose. He laughs. It's a broken, hollow sound that makes the enforcers grip their weapons tighter. "You want it back?" Kael's voice is hoarse, raw from screaming. "Come take it. I'll be waiting." The guild members don't move. They can't, because touching Kael Vesper means losing everything you are. How did this happen? How did a starving street rat, with no name, no family, no future, become the most wanted criminal in the entire kingdom? How did someone with nothing become the one thing every guild in the realm fears? The answer is simple, and it's written in the empty eyes of every enforcer he's ever touched. He can steal your skill, your power, your identity, everything that makes you matter in this world. And once he takes it, even if it's just for a moment, you'll never feel whole again. This is the story of how Kael Vesper went from invisible to inevitable. This is the story of how one ability turned an entire kingdom upside down. This is the story of the Hollow. And it starts 3 months ago, when Kael was nobody at all. 3 months earlier, Asheville City, the slums. Kael Vesper is 16 years old and he's never mattered to anyone. Not once. Not ever. He wakes up in an abandoned textile factory where the roof leaks when it rains and the wind cuts through the broken windows like knives. There are 7 other street kids sleeping nearby, all of them curled up on scraps of cloth and rotting blankets. None of them know each other's real names. That's safer. Safer not to care. Safer not to remember. Kael's stomach is eating itself. He hasn't had real food in 3 days. Just scraps. Just garbage. Just whatever he could steal without getting caught. He slips out into the morning cold and makes his way through the twisted alleys of the slum district. The city is waking up. Merchants are opening their stalls. Guild members in their polished armor are walking to the academy district. Normal people with normal lives are starting their normal days. Kael is invisible to all of them. In this kingdom, your level is everything. Your level determines your worth, your future, your right to exist. The Magic Academy system controls it all. You enter the awakening ceremony as a child. If you're lucky, you awaken a skill. Once you have a skill, you can level up. You join a guild. You climb the ranks. You matter. If you don't awaken a skill, you're nothing. You're gutter trash. You're not even worth acknowledging. Kael has watched this system his entire life. He's watched children his age walk into the grand academy buildings wearing clean clothes and hopeful faces. He's watched them come out days later with skills branded into their souls. Fire manipulation, enhanced strength, healing touch, sword mastery, 1,000 different abilities that separate the worthy from the worthless. He's never been allowed inside. Orphans without guild sponsors don't get chances. The ceremony costs money, registration fees, processing fees, academy fees. If you can't pay, you don't awaken. Simple as that. So Kael survives the only way he knows how. He steals. He slips through the morning market, eyes scanning for opportunities. A bread cart with a distracted owner. A fruit stand where the merchant is haggling with a customer. He moves like smoke, quick and quiet, grabbing an apple and shoving it under his shirt before anyone notices. Almost anyone. A city guard spots him. "Hey, stop right there." Kael runs. He knows these alleys better than anyone. He cuts through a diuama, narrow gap between buildings, vaults over a fence, slides under a merchant's cart. The guard is wearing armor. He's too slow, too heavy. Kael loses him in seconds. He eats the apple in a dark corner, savoring every bite. It's not enough. It's never enough. But it keeps him alive one more day. That's all he wants. One more day, then another, then another. He doesn't dream of being a hero. He doesn't dream of power or glory or respect. He just dreams of surviving another winter. The kingdom is built on guilds. They're everywhere. The Crimson Advent Guild controls the northern territories with brutal efficiency. They're government-sanctioned, which means they make the rules. Their members walk around like lords, their levels displayed proudly on enchanted badges. Level 500, level 1000, level 3000. The higher your level, the more respect you command. The Silver Fang Syndicate runs the black market and the underground fighting rings. They're criminals technically, but they're too powerful to stop. Their headquarters is in the Slum District, a massive fortress of stone and steel where deals are made in blood and gold. Then there are hundreds of smaller guilds, mercenary companies, adventuring parties, crafting collectives, all of them competing for contracts, for territory, for recruits. All of them worshipping the same god, rare skills. The rarer your skill, the more valuable you are. Common skills like basic swordsmanship or minor fire magic top out around level 1000. Rare skills like lightning manipulation or gravity control can reach level 5000. Legendary skills, the ones whispered about in taverns, can theoretically reach level 999.9. Nobody has ever reached level 999.9. The highest recorded level in history is 8,147, held by the former guildmaster of Crimson Advent, before he died in a dungeon collapse. Kael knows all of this because he listens. Street kids are invisible, which means people talk freely around them. He's heard guild recruiters argue about skill tiers. He's heard merchants gossip about which guilds are hiring. He's heard everything, and none of it matters to him. Because he'll never have a skill. He'll never have a level. He'll never be anything but invisible. The Academy District stands in the center of Ashvale City like a monument to everything Kael will never have. Massive towers of white stone reach toward the sky. Enchanted banners float in the air, displaying the crests of every major guild. Students walk the pristine streets in their academy uniforms, laughing and talking about their training, their levels, their futures. Kael sometimes watches them from the shadows, not because he's jealous. Jealousy requires hope. He just watches because it's fascinating in a distant academic way, like watching birds fly when you've never had wings. He sees a group of first-year students comparing their newly awakened skills. A boy proudly demonstrates his enhanced speed ability, running 50 meters in the blink of an eye. His friends cheer and congratulate him. A girl shows off her minor healing skill, closing a paper cut on her finger with a soft green glow. They're all level 10 or level 20 at most. Babies in the guild system. But they're already more than Kael will ever be. One of the students notices him watching. "Get lost, scum. This area is for Academy members only." Kael doesn't argue. He just melts back into the alley and disappears. There's no point in fighting. No point in defending himself. The student is right. This area isn't for him. Nowhere is for him. The slum district is different. It's a sprawling maze of crumbling buildings and narrow streets where the city guard rarely patrols. The people here are the ones the system forgot. Failed awakeners who couldn't afford to keep training. Criminals hiding from guild justice. Families too poor to matter. And street kids like Kael who were born into nothing and will die with nothing. But even here, in the lowest part of the city, the guild system dominates. The Silver Fang Syndicate runs protection rackets on every business. Local enforcers walk the streets collecting tribute. There are recruiters prowling for anyone with even a basic skill who's desperate enough to join a criminal guild. Kael has been approached 3 times in the last year. Each time, a Silver Fang scout asked him the same question. "You awakened? Yet, kid?" Each time, Kael said no. Each time they walked away without another word. Even the criminal guilds don't want the skillless. That evening, Kael returns to the factory. Most of the other kids are gone, off to their own corners of the city to beg or steal or survive. But there's one girl still there. She's new, maybe 12 years old, skinny, scared, alone. She's clutching a piece of stale bread like it's treasure. Kael should ignore her. Getting close to people is dangerous. People die in the slums. They get sick. They get arrested. They disappear. Caring about someone is just signing up for heartbreak. But she looks at him with those big, hollow eyes and offers him half of her bread. "You look hungry," she says quietly. Kael stares at her. Nobody has ever shared food with him. Not once. Not in 16 years of living on these streets. He takes the bread. "Thanks. I'm Mira," she says. "Kael." She smiles. It's a small, fragile thing, like a candle flame in the wind. "I just got here yesterday. I don't really know where anything is. Do you know where I can find work?" "I can sew. I'm really good at sewing." Kael almost laughs. Work. In the slums. For a 12-year-old girl with no skills and no connections, there's no work. There's only survival. But he doesn't say that. Instead, he says, "I'll show you around. Tomorrow. The market district sometimes needs runners. It's not much, but it's something." Her smile gets a little brighter. "Thank you, Kael." Over the next 2 days, Kael shows Mira the safe routes through the city, the merchants who might toss out day-old bread, the alleys where the guards don't patrol, the corners where you can sleep without getting robbed. All the little secrets that keep street kids alive. Mira follows him everywhere, asking questions, taking mental notes, trying so hard to learn. She tells him about her life before. She had a family once, a mother and a father who worked in a textile mill. Then her father got sick, medical care cost money, skills that heal cost even more. They couldn't afford treatment. He died. Her mother tried to keep working, but the grief broke her. She stopped eating, stopped sleeping. One morning, she just didn't wake up. Mira tried to stay in their apartment, but she couldn't pay rent. The landlord threw her out. She's been on the streets for 3 weeks. "I'm going to get strong," Mira says one night as they sit on the factory roof, watching the stars. "I'm going to save up money and enter the awakening ceremony. And when I get my skill, I'm going to join a guild. A good one. And I'm going to make enough money so nobody else has to die because they can't afford help." Kael doesn't tell her the truth. That the ceremony costs more than a street kid could save in 5 years. That even if she somehow scraped together the money, most people don't awaken anything valuable. That the system is designed to keep people like them at the bottom forever. He just says, "That's a good dream." And just like that, for the first time in his life, Kael Vesper has a friend. He doesn't know it yet, but this moment will destroy him. This moment of kindness. This moment of connection. Because tomorrow night, Mira will be dead, and Kael will discover exactly what he's capable of. The next night changes everything. Kael and Mira are walking back to the factory after a successful day. They manage to get some actual coins by running messages for merchants in the market district. Not much, just a few coppers. But it's enough to buy real bread from a bakery instead of stealing scraps. They're laughing about something stupid. Mira is doing an impression of a pompous merchant they met earlier, puffing out her chest and speaking in an exaggerated deep voice. Kael is actually smiling. When was the last time he smiled? He can't remember. That's when they hear the footsteps behind them. Heavy, deliberate. Multiple sets of boots on cobblestone. Kael's instincts scream at him to run. He grabs Mira's hand and pulls her toward a side alley, but they're too slow. 3 figures step out of the shadows ahead, blocking their path. Behind them, 2 more appear, cutting off their escape. 5 men, all wearing the crimson and black, uniforms of the Crimson Advent Guild, guild enforcers, official, legal, untouchable. The leader steps forward. He's tall, with dark hair and a cruel smile that doesn't reach his eyes. His guild badge gleams in the lamplight, displaying his information in glowing letters. Dorian Hale, level 847. Skill, Flame Lance, level 847. That's higher than most people will ever reach. That's the kind of power that can burn through stone walls, the kind of power that makes you feared and respected, the kind of power that makes 2 street kids nothing but insects. Well, well, Dorian says, his voice smooth and cold. What do we have here? Couple of rats scurrying around after dark. You know this district belongs to the Crimson Advent Guild, right? We collect taxes from everyone who operates here, even little thieves like you. Kael's heart is hammering in his chest. He knows what this is. There's a sick tradition among some guild members, especially the younger ones trying to prove themselves. They hunt the powerless for sport. They call it training exercises. The city guard looks the other way because guild members are valuable assets. The lives of street kids? Not so much. We don't have anything, Kael says, keeping his voice steady. We're nobody, just let us go. Dorian laughs. Oh, I know you're nobody. That's exactly why you're perfect. See, I've got 4 new recruits here who just hit level 100. They need combat experience, real combat experience. Not sparring, not training. Dummies. Real fear. Real blood. And you 2 are going to provide that. One of the other enforcers, a younger man who can't be more than 18, looks uncomfortable. Sir, they're just kids. The girl is barely 12. Can't we just scare them and let them go? Dorian's smile vanishes. He turns to the younger enforcer with eyes like ice. Are you questioning my judgment, recruit? No, sir. I just thought... You thought wrong. This is how you learn. This is how you understand what real power means. These rats are nothing. They have no skills, no levels, no worth. They exist only to serve as stepping stones for people like us. Now form up and prepare your skills. The 4 recruits hesitate, then slowly take positions around Kael and Mira. They're all young, maybe 19 or 20 years old, fresh from the academy. Their levels range from 100 to 150. Their skills are basic. Firebolt, minor shield, enhanced. Strength, windblade. Against skilled opponents, they'd be nothing. Against 2 street kids with no powers at all, they're gods. Mira is trembling. She's pressing close to Kael, her small hand gripping his arm so tight it hurts. She's terrified. She's a child. She doesn't deserve this. Please, Kael says, hating how his voice shakes. Take whatever you want. Our coins, everything. Just let her go. She's just a kid. Dorian tilts his head, considering. Then he smiles again. You know what? You're right. She is just a kid. Which makes her perfect for demonstrating the difference between mercy and weakness. Hey girl, come here. Mira doesn't move. She's frozen in fear. I said, come here. Dorian's voice hardens. Now. Kael feels Mira's hand slip from his arm. She's walking forward, her legs shaking so badly she can barely stand. She's trying to be brave. She's trying to protect him by obeying. It's the most heartbreaking thing Kael has ever seen. Good girl, Dorian says when she's standing in front of him. You see, this is what separates the strong from the weak. The strong can do whatever they want. The weak can only obey. Watch. Closely, recruits. This is Flame Lance. Tier 7 offensive skill. Level 847 power output. Watch what happens when there's no defense. No shield, no protection, just raw power against flesh. Kael realizes what's about to happen a second too late. He screams and lunges forward, but two of the recruits grab him and hold him back. He struggles, but enhanced strength makes them immovable. He might as well be fighting stone statues. Dorian raises his hand. A lance of pure fire materializes in his palm, burning white-hot, radiating heat that makes the air shimmer. It's beautiful and terrible. A weapon that could pierce castle walls. A weapon designed to kill monsters and enemy combatants. He's aiming it at a 12-year-old girl. No. Stop. Please. Don't. Kael is begging now. All pride gone. All dignity abandoned. Kill me instead. Do whatever you want to me. Just don't hurt her. Please. Dorian looks at him. Really looks at him. And Kael sees nothing in those eyes. No empathy. No hesitation. Just cold calculation and casual cruelty. You want to take her place? How noble. But that defeats the purpose. The lesson here isn't about you. It's about understanding that power means you can do whatever you want. And right now, I want to show these recruits what happens when Flame Lance hits an unprotected target. Don't worry, I'll make it educational. He doesn't thrust the lance. He presses it against Mira's stomach. Slowly, deliberately. The fire burns through her threadbare clothes instantly, then her skin, then deeper. Mira's scream is something Kael will hear for the rest of his life. It's not human. It's pure agony given voice. The smell of burning flesh fills the air. She's trying to pull away, but Dorian grabs her shoulder with his free hand holding her in place. See how the fire cauterizes as it burns? That means she won't bleed out quickly. She'll feel everything. Every second. This is what level 847 fire does to unprotected flesh. Pay attention, recruits. This is your future. This is what strength looks like. Kael is screaming too. He's thrashing against the hands holding him, but it's useless. The recruits are too strong. He's helpless, powerless, worthless, just like the system always told him he was. Dorian finally pulls the lance back. Mira collapses to the ground, her body convulsing, her screams reduced to wet, gurgling sounds. She's not dead yet. He made sure of that. Made sure she'd suffer. Good, Dorian says to his recruits, dismissing the flame lance with a casual gesture. That's how you demonstrate absolute dominance. Remember this moment. Remember that hesitation means weakness. In this world, you're either predator or prey. Choose wisely. He turns to walk away, leaving Mira dying on the cobblestones, leaving Kael held in place, forced to watch the only person who ever showed him kindness burn alive. And something inside Kael breaks. Not his spirit, not his will. Something deeper. Something fundamental. It's like a dam bursting inside his skull. His vision explodes with light. Suddenly he can see things that weren't there before. Threads, connections. Lines of energy connecting to every person around him, pulsing with colors he doesn't have names for. The threads lead to their skills. He can see them now. See them like they're physical objects. Dorian's flame. Lance burns brightest, a rope of crimson fire wrapped around his soul. The recruit's skills are dimmer, smaller, but still visible. Minor shield, enhanced strength, firebolt, windblade. Kael doesn't understand what he's seeing. But instinct takes over. Desperate, drowning instinct. He reaches for the nearest thread, the enhanced strength skill of the recruit holding his right arm. He doesn't physically reach. He reaches with something else. Something new. Something that shouldn't exist. And he pulls. The recruit screams and releases him, stumbling backward. What? What did you do? My skill. Where's my skill? Kael feels it. Power flooding into his body like fire in his veins. Enhanced strength. It's his now. Temporary. Borrowed. Stolen. He doesn't know which. He doesn't care. He grabs the other recruit holding him and pulls again. Another skill vanishes from its owner. Another burst of power fills Kael's body. The recruits are backing, away now, terrified, staring at their hands like strangers. They can feel the absence, the hollow space where their skills used to be. Dorian turns around, his expression shifting from boredom to interest. Well now, that's unexpected. What are you, boy? Kael doesn't answer. He's walking toward Dorian, now, his hands clenched into fists. The enhanced strength is making him faster, stronger than he's ever been. But it's not enough. Not nearly enough to fight a level 847 enforcer. So he reaches for more threads. Firebolt from the first recruit, Windblade from the second, Minor Shield from the third. He pulls them all at once, yanking their skills into himself with desperate, clumsy force. The recruits collapse, crying out in confusion and fear. They're powerless now. Ordinary. Human. Everything they built their identities on is gone, even if just temporarily. And Kael has it all. 3 skills swirl inside him, fighting for space, burning through his unprepared body. It hurts. It feels like his veins are filled with broken glass. But he doesn't stop. Because Mira is still dying. Because Dorian is still standing. Because nothing else matters except making him pay. Dorian's smile returns, wider now. Skill thief. I've heard rumors. Ancient texts mention abilities like yours. Forbidden powers. You're valuable, boy. More valuable than you can possibly imagine. Come with me peacefully, and I'll make sure you're treated well. The guild could use someone like you. Kael's response is to launch a firebolt directly at Dorian's face. Dorian swats it aside with contemptuous ease, his level 847 reflexes making Kael's attack look like slow motion. Wrong answer. He summons his flame lance again, but this time with lethal intent. The fire burns hotter than before. White hot. Deadly. He thrusts it forward, aiming for Kael's heart. Kael activates Minor Shield. A translucent barrier appears in front of him. The flame lance punches through it like paper, but it slows the attack just enough. Kael dodges to the side, the lance searing past his ribs instead of through his chest. The pain is blinding, but adrenaline keeps him moving. He reaches out and grabs Dorian's wrist. Skin-to-skin contact, direct connection. And he pulls with everything he has. The crimson thread connecting to Flame Lance resists. It's strong. Tier 7 skill. Level 847 power. It doesn't want to be taken. But Kael pulls harder, fueled by rage and grief and desperation. He pulls until something gives. Dorian's eyes go wide with shock and horror. No, that's not possible. You can't. The flame lance vanishes from his hand. The fire dies. The heat disappears, and Kael feels it flood into him. Flame lance, tier 7 offensive skill. More power than his body was ever meant to hold. It's destroying him from the inside. His muscles are tearing. His bones are cracking under the pressure. This skill is too strong for someone with no levels, no training, no foundation. It's going to kill him, but first, it's going to kill Dorian. Kael raises his hand and summons the flame lance. It appears in his palm, massive and burning, fueled by rage instead of technique. It's unstable, wild, but it's deadly. Dorian backs away, his face pale, his hands empty. For the first time in years, maybe decades, he's powerless. He's the rat now. Wait. We can talk about this. I can give you money, status, a position, in the guild. Anything you want. Kael thinks about Mira, about her smile, about how she shared her bread with him when she had nothing, about how she died screaming because a man with power decided her life meant nothing. Remember this, Kael says, his voice cold and dead. This is what power looks like. He drives the flame lance through Dorian's chest, slowly, deliberately, making sure he feels everything, making sure he understands what he did, making sure the lesson is learned. Dorian's scream sounds exactly like Mira's. That's good. That's right. That's justice. When it's over, when Dorian is nothing but ash and charred bone on the cobblestones, Kael collapses next to Mira's body. The stolen skills are fading from him now, draining away like water through his fingers. The flame lance disappears. The enhanced strength vanishes. The other skills slip away one by one. He's empty again, powerless again, human again. Mira is already gone. Her eyes are open but seeing nothing. Her body is still. The girl who shared her bread with him. The girl who wanted to get strong and help people. Dead because she was kind to him. Dead because she was powerless in a world that worships power. Kael closes her eyes. His hands are shaking. He's covered in blood and ash. He just killed a guild enforcer. He just stole skills from 5 people. He just did something that shouldn't be possible, and he doesn't feel anything except hollow. The 4 recruits are still on the ground, staring at their hands, trying to comprehend what happened to them. Their skills will come back. Kael doesn't. Know how he knows that, but he does. The theft is temporary. A few hours, maybe a day. But for now, they're empty. They know what it feels like to lose everything that made them matter. Kael stands up. He looks at the recruits. They flinch away from him. Tell your guild what happened here, he says quietly. Tell them what I can do. Tell them I'm coming for all of them. Then he walks away, leaving 5 broken people and 2 corpses behind him. In the dark, he doesn't know it yet, but in that alley, the Hollow was born, and the kingdom will never be the same. Kael doesn't sleep that night. He can't. Every time he closes his eyes, he sees Mira burning, hears her screaming, smells the charred flesh. So he stays awake in the darkness of the abandoned factory, staring at his hands, trying to understand what he is. He's a monster now. That's what they'll call him. That's what he feels like. He killed a man, burned him alive, watched him suffer the same way Mira suffered. And the worst part? He'd do it again, without hesitation, without regret. The power he felt when he stole those skills was intoxicating. For the first time in his life, he wasn't helpless. He wasn't invisible. He was dangerous. He mattered. And now that he knows what that feels like, he can never go back to being nothing, but he needs to understand how it works. The ability activated during extreme trauma. During the moment his mind broke watching Mira die. Can he control it? Can he use it without that emotional trigger? He needs to know. Because the Crimson Advent Guild will come looking for him. Word will spread. 5 guild members will report what happened. They'll describe what he can do, and then the hunt will begin. Kael spends the next 3 days hiding in the deepest parts of the slum district, moving between abandoned buildings, staying in shadows. He's waiting for news, waiting to hear what story the guild is telling, waiting to understand how much danger he's in. The news comes faster than expected. By the 2nd day, every street corner has guild members asking questions. They're showing a sketch of his face, offering rewards for information, but they're being quiet about it. No public announcements, no citywide manhunt, just private inquiries, discreet searches. That tells Kael something important. The guild doesn't want other guilds to know what happened. They don't want word spreading that someone can steal skills. Because if that information gets out, every guild in the kingdom will want him. Dead or alive. Controlled or eliminated. The Crimson Advent Guild wants to find him first. They want to contain the situation before it explodes. Too late for that. On the 3rd day, Kael overhears 2 Silver Fang Syndicate members talking in a tavern. He's pressed against the wall outside, listening through a broken window. You hear about the Crimson Advent incident? One of their enforcers got killed in the slum district. Dorian Hale. Level 847. Somebody burned him alive with his own skill. How's that possible? You can't use someone else's skill. That's not how the system works. That's what I heard too. But 4 recruits witnessed it. Said some kid touched Dorian and his flame lance just vanished. Then the kid used it to kill him. The recruits lost their skills too, temporarily. Came back after a few hours, but they said it felt like dying. Skill thief. That's ancient magic. Forbidden magic. I thought that was just a legend. Guildmaster Cassian doesn't think it's a legend. He's offering 100,000 gold for the kid. Alive only. No questions asked. That's serious money for a street rat. Why alive? Usually they just want criminals dead. Don't know. But 100,000 gold? For a kid with no levels? There's something bigger going on here. Kael's blood runs cold. 100,000 gold. That's enough money to buy a mansion. Enough money to make anyone in the slum district betray him without hesitation. He needs to leave this area. Now. But more importantly, he needs to understand why they want him alive. What's Cassian planning? What does the guild master of the Crimson Advent want with someone who can steal skills? The answer comes to him slowly, like pieces of a puzzle falling into place. Cassian is level 8,234, one of the strongest people in the kingdom. He has resources, power, influence. But there's one thing he can't buy. One thing no amount of gold or authority can provide. A skill for someone who failed to awaken. Kael has heard rumors about Cassian's daughter. Whispered conversations between guild members. She was born without a skill. In a world where skills define humanity, she's considered defective, an embarrassment to one of the most powerful families in the kingdom. Cassian has supposedly spent fortunes trying to find a cure. Ancient rituals, legendary healers, experimental procedures. Nothing worked, until now. Until a boy appeared who can move skills from one person to another. Cassian doesn't want to kill Kael. He wants to use him, force him to transfer a skill to his daughter. Make her whole. Make her worthy. That's why the bounty specifies alive. That's why they're keeping it quiet. Cassian needs Kael functional and cooperative. He needs leverage. Control. Kael realizes, with grim certainty, that he'll never be safe as long as Cassian is hunting him. The guildmaster has too many resources. Too many people. Too much determination. Eventually they'll find him. Eventually they'll corner him. And then he'll become a tool. A slave with a valuable ability. Used and discarded when he's no longer needed. Unless he strikes first. The thought is insane. Thought is, he's a street kid with no levels, no training, no resources. Cassian is level 8,234, with an army of enforcers at his command. Fighting him directly would be suicide. But Kael doesn't have to fight Cassian directly. Not yet. He just needs to prove that he's too dangerous to capture, too unpredictable to control. He needs to make himself into a problem that's easier to kill than to contain. He needs to become a legend. Over the next week, Kael does something that should be impossible. He goes hunting. Not for food, not for survival, for skills. He starts small, a low-level thief operating in the market district. Level 213. Skill, shadow step. The ability to move through shadows, becoming briefly invisible. Kael follows him for 2 days, learning his patterns, his routes, his habits. Then he strikes during a theft. The thief is focused on his target, unaware of the predator behind him. Kael grabs his wrist, pulls, takes shadow step. The thief collapses, screaming about his missing skill. Kael disappears into the shadows, testing his new ability. It's incredible. He can slip between patches of darkness like walking through doorways. The skill will fade in a few hours, but for now, he's invisible, untouchable. He uses Shadow Step to escape the market district before the city guard arrives. The thief is arrested. He tries to explain what happened, but nobody believes him. Skills don't just disappear. He must have used some illegal substance that temporarily blocked his access. That's the logical explanation. Kael knows better, and he's just getting started. His second target is a drunk mercenary stumbling out of a tavern in the slum district. Level 387. Skill: Iron Skin. A defensive ability that hardens the user's body, making them resistant to physical damage. The mercenary is alone. Vulnerable. Perfect. Kael approaches him asking for help, playing the scared kid routine. The mercenary barely looks at him. Kael touches his arm, pulls, takes Iron Skin. The mercenary sobers up instantly when he feels his skill vanish. He swings at Kael in rage, but Iron Skin makes Kael's body hard as stone. The punch breaks the mercenary's knuckles. Kael walks away, leaving the man screaming in the street. Each theft teaches Kael something new. He's learning how his ability works. He needs direct skin contact. He needs focus and intent. The stronger the skill, the harder it is to take. Skills return to their owners after a few hours, but the trauma of losing them is permanent. People who've been stolen from describe it as feeling hollow, violated, fundamentally wrong. Good. They should feel that way. They should understand what it's like to be powerless. By the end of the first week, Kael has stolen from 7 different people. Low-level targets, easy marks, but word is spreading. Street rumors, tavern gossip. People are talking about a mysterious attacker who leaves skilled fighters empty and broken. They don't know who he is yet. They don't connect him to the Crimson Advent incident. But they're scared. That's when the Crimson Advent Guild makes its move. Investigators start interviewing the victims. They're looking for patterns, descriptions, anything that connects the attacks. It doesn't take them long to realize all the victims describe the same person. Dark hair, young, thin, desperate eyes, the same person their 4 recruits described. The bounty increases. 200,000 gold, still alive only, still quiet. But more enforcers are deployed, more resources committed. The hunt intensifies. Kael knows he's running out of time. He needs to make a statement. Something big. Something that proves he's not a rat to be captured. He's a threat to be eliminated. He chooses his target carefully. A Crimson Advent patrol team. 4 enforcers. Levels ranging from 421 to 687. They're experienced, disciplined, dangerous. Exactly the kind of people who shouldn't lose to a level-less street kid. Kael stalks them for 3 days. He learns their route, their schedule, their habits. They patrol the border between the slum district and the merchant quarter every night from midnight to dawn. Always the same route, always the same formation. Predictable. Fatal. On the 4th night, Kael makes his move. He steals Shadow Step from a thief earlier in the evening. Then he waits in the darkness, invisible, patient. When the patrol passes his position, he strikes. The first enforcer doesn't even see him coming. Kael materializes from the shadows, grabs the man's wrist, and pulls. The enforcer's skill, enhanced vision, vanishes. Before the others can react, Kael is gone, melted back into darkness. The patrol erupts in chaos. They're searching for an enemy. They can't see, shouting orders, activating defensive skills, but Kael has Shadow Step. He's a ghost. Untouchable. He strikes again. Second enforcer. Touch. Pull. Skill stolen. This time it's Flame Burst, a low-tier fire ability. Kael uses it, immediately, throwing a ball of fire at the third enforcer's face. The attack is weak, poorly aimed, but it creates panic. The third enforcer activates his defensive skill, Water Shield, to block the fire. That's when Kael appears behind him, touching his exposed neck. Pull. Water Shield is gone. the enforcer, stumbles, disoriented by the sudden absence of his power. The patrol leader, the level 687 enforcer, finally gets a clear view of Kael. His skill is Lightning Strike, a Tier 6 offensive ability. Dangerous, deadly. He raises his hand to attack. Kael throws himself forward, rolling under the lightning bolt, feeling it sear past his head. He comes up inside the leader's guard and grabs his arm with both hands. The leader tries to pull away, but Kael holds on with desperate strength. Pull harder. Lightning Strike resists, the Tier 6 skill fighting against being taken. But Kael is fueled by rage and fear and determination. Something gives. The skill transfers. The leader's eyes go wide with horror. No, you can't. That's mine. Give it back. Kael feels Lightning Strike burning through his unprepared body. It's agony. His muscles spasm. His heart stutters. This skill is too strong for him, but he only needs it for a moment. He raises his hand and unleashes Lightning Strike at point-blank range into the leader's chest. The electricity tears through the man's body, stopping his heart instantly. He drops without a sound. The other three enforcers are powerless now, their skills gone, staring at their dead leader in shock. Kael should run. Shadow Step is fading. Lightning Strike is destroying him from the inside. He's barely standing, but he needs to send a message. Tell Cassian, Kael says, his voice harsh and broken. Tell him I'm not something he can capture. I'm not something he can use. I'm the mistake his guild made when they killed an innocent girl for sport, and I'm going to make him pay for it. Then he disappears into the shadows one last time, leaving 3 traumatized enforcers and 1 corpse behind. By morning, the entire city knows. 4 Crimson Advent enforcers attacked. 1 dead, 3 left powerless and broken. The description matches the earlier incidents. It's the same person. The same impossible ability. The guilds start calling him the Hollow. A monster who leaves skilled warriors empty. A nightmare that turns the powerful into the powerless. A threat that needs to be eliminated. The bounty changes. 500,000 gold. Dead or alive. No longer quiet. No longer contained. Every guild in the city knows now. Every bounty hunter is hunting. Every street corner has someone watching. And Cassian, Draymar, guildmaster of the Crimson Advent Guild, sits in his private chambers staring at the reports. His enforcers dead. His reputation damaged. His secret weapon exposed to the entire kingdom. He doesn't know it yet, but he's already lost. Because Kael Vesper isn't running anymore. Kael Vesper is coming for him, and nothing in the world can stop someone who has nothing left to lose. The bounty on Kael's head transforms everything. What was once a quiet manhunt becomes an all-out war. Every guild in Ashvale City wants him. Some want him dead. Some want him alive. All of them want the glory of being the ones who brought down the Hollow. Kael can't stay in the slum district anymore. Too many eyes watching. Too many people willing to sell information for a fraction of 500,000 gold. He moves constantly, never sleeping in the same place twice, always watching his back, always ready to run or fight. But running isn't enough anymore. The guilds are coordinating now, sharing information, setting up checkpoints at district borders, monitoring every street corner. They're treating him like a dungeon boss, a raid target that requires multiple parties to defeat. The net is closing, so Kael stops running. He starts hunting them instead. His first major target is a Bronze Fangs patrol. The Bronze Fangs are a mid-tier guild, not as prestigious as Crimson Advent, but respected enough. They operate protection rackets in the merchant district and take on bounty contracts when the money's right. 4 of their members are hunting Kael specifically, levels ranging from 315 to 523, skills including wind manipulation, sword mastery, enhanced reflexes, and stone armor. They're experienced fighters, veterans. They've taken down dungeon monsters and rival guild members. They think 4 against, 1 is overwhelming odds, even against someone with Kael's reputation. They're wrong. Kael spends 2 days studying them. He learns that they use the same meeting point every evening, a tavern in the merchant quarter where they plan their search. Patterns. He learns that their scout, the one with wind manipulation, always leaves first to check the route. He learns that they're overconfident, dismissive of the threat he represents, because he has no levels, no formal training. That overconfidence will kill them. On the 3rd evening, Kael is waiting in the alley outside the tavern. He's stolen Shadow. Step again earlier in the day, taken from a different thief, building his collection of temporary powers. When the scout exits the tavern, checking the street with casual alertness, Kael materializes from the darkness behind him. The scout spins, his reflexes sharp, his hand already moving to draw his weapon. But Kael is faster. He grabs the scout's wrist and pulls. Wind manipulation flows into him like a rushing breeze. The scout gasps, feeling the hollow absence where his skill used to be. Before he can shout a warning, Kael uses wind manipulation to create a localized dust storm, pulling dirt and debris from the alley into a swirling cloud that blinds and chokes. The scout stumbles backward, coughing, disoriented. Kael doesn't kill him. Not yet. He needs the others to come investigate. They do. The remaining 3 Bronze Fangs members burst out of the tavern when they hear the commotion. They see their scout on the ground, gasping for air, surrounded by swirling dust. They see a figure in the center of the storm, barely visible through. "The debris! It's him!" one of them shouts. "It's the Hollow!" The one with stone armor activates his skill immediately, his skin transforming into gray rock, defensive and nearly impenetrable. Smart. That skill makes him almost impossible to hurt with conventional attacks. But Kael doesn't want to hurt him. He wants to take from him. Kael releases the dust storm and charges directly at stone armor. The other guild members are shouting warnings, trying to flank him. But Kael has enhanced reflexes now, stolen from a mercenary yesterday. Still, fresh in his system, he moves like water, flowing around attacks, closing the distance before they can react. His hand connects with stone armor's forearm. Pull. The skill resists, strong and stubborn, but Kael has learned to push through that resistance. Stone armor vanishes from its owner and floods into Kael. His skin begins hardening, turning gray and rough. It's uncomfortable, alien, but powerful. The Bronze Fangs member looks at his normal flesh in horror. "My skill. He took my skill." The one with sword mastery attacks, his blade moving in a perfect arc toward Kael's neck. It's a killing strike, precise and deadly. But stone armor makes Kael's body nearly impervious. The sword hits his neck and bounces off with a metallic clang. The impact doesn't even hurt. Kael grabs the swordsman's arm. Pull. Sword mastery transfers. Suddenly, Kael knows how to hold a blade, how to strike, how to kill efficiently. He rips the sword from the swordsman's hand and drives it through the man's stomach in one fluid motion. The movement is perfect, professional, lethal. The swordsman's own skill used against him, 2 down, 2 powerless, 1 dead, 1 wounded. The 4th member, the one with enhanced reflexes, finally reaches Kael. He's fast, incredibly fast, his fists moving in blurs as he attacks from multiple angles. But Kael has enhanced reflexes too, stolen earlier. They're matched, in speed, and Kael has stone armor protecting him. The punches land, but don't hurt. It's like hitting a statue. Kael waits for an opening. When the fighter overextends on a punch, Kael catches his wrist. Pull. Enhanced reflexes doubles inside. Kael's body, he now has 2 copies of the same skill, both temporary, both stacking. He's faster than humanly possible now. Fast enough to see the fear in the fighter's eyes as he realizes he can't win. Kael doesn't use the sword. He uses wind manipulation, instead, concentrating the air into a narrow, high-pressure blade. It's an improvisation, something he's never tried before, but sword mastery helps him understand the cutting motion. The wind blade slices through the fighter's throat, clean, Efficient. Fatal. 3 down. 2 powerless. 2 dead. 1 wounded. The scout is still on the ground, weaponless, skillless, watching his entire team get dismantled by a kid who shouldn't exist. He tries to crawl away, but Kael's wind manipulation pins him down with focused air pressure. "Tell your guild what happened here," Kael says, his voice cold and empty. "Tell them I used your own skills against you. Tell them I killed 2 of you without breaking a sweat. Tell them that every time they send people after me, I'll send some of them back in pieces and some of them back broken." He releases the pressure. The scout scrambles to his feet and runs, leaving his dead and dying teammates behind. The member with stone armor, now defenseless and terrified, tries to plead. "Please, I have a family. I was just following orders. We didn't know what you were capable of." Kael looks at him with dead eyes. Mira had a family too. She was 12 years old and she died screaming because someone with power decided she didn't matter. You chose to hunt me for money. You chose this. He kills him with the wind blade. Quick, merciful. More mercy than Mira received. The stolen skills start fading as Kael walks away from the carnage. Shadow Step dissolves first, then enhanced reflexes, then wind manipulation. Stone armor and sword mastery linger longer, but they'll be gone within hours. He's back to being powerless, human, vulnerable. But the message is sent, and the city hears it loud and clear. Within 24 hours, the story spreads through every guild hall, every tavern, every street corner. The Hollow killed 2 Bronze Fangs members using their own skills, left 2 others powerless and traumatized. The survivors describe watching their abilities get used against them, describe the horror of being empty while their enemy wielded their powers like weapons. The Bronze Fangs Guild withdraws their hunters. The bounty money isn't worth the cost. Other smaller guilds follow suit. The risk is too high. The casualties are mounting, but the major guilds double down. The Silver Fang Syndicate sees an opportunity. If they can capture the Hollow, they can use him, force him to steal skills from their enemies, turn him into a weapon. They send their best, 10 members, levels ranging from 587 to 934. Professional, assassins and combat specialists. Skills including poison mist, enhanced agility, night vision, blade dance, shadow clone, and more. They hunt Kael for a week. They're good, patient, coordinated. They almost catch him twice. The first time, he escapes using a stolen blink step ability, a short-range teleportation skill he took from a courier. The second time, he has to fight his way out, stealing poison, mist, and filling an entire alley with toxic gas, forcing his pursuers to retreat while he escapes through the sewers. But he's learning. Every encounter teaches him something new. He's getting better at combining skills, better at timing his thefts, better at reading his enemies and exploiting their weaknesses. On the 8th day, Kael turns the tables. He stops running and starts tracking them instead. He identifies their leader, a level 934 assassin named Marcus Vale. Skill, Blade Dance, a tier 8 ability that allows the user to control multiple weapons simultaneously through kinetic manipulation. Marcus is dangerous, deadly, responsible for at least 30 confirmed kills. Kael stalks him through the city, staying invisible using a stolen shadow step, waiting for the perfect moment. That moment comes when Marcus splits off from his team to investigate a lead. He's alone in a narrow alley, checking a false tip that Kael planted through a street informant. Kael drops from a rooftop directly onto Marcus's back. The assassin reacts instantly, his blade dance activating, 4 knives materializing from hidden sheaths and flying toward Kael with lethal precision. But Kael has been collecting skills all day. Stone armor, enhanced reflexes, iron will. He's prepared. The knives bounce off stone armor. Kael grabs Marcus's arm before he can teleport away. Pull. Blade Dance resists harder than anything Kael has ever felt. Tier 8 skill. Level 934 power. It's like trying to move a mountain. Kael pulls harder, pushing his ability to its limit, feeling something tear inside his mind from the effort. Blade Dance breaks free from Marcus and floods into Kael. The sensation is overwhelming. He can suddenly feel every blade within 10 meters, feel their weight, their balance, their potential. Marcus's 4 knives, a butcher's cleaver in a nearby shop, swords on the belts of distant guards, all of them calling to him, ready to move, at his command. Marcus collapses, his eyes wide with shock and horror. That's not possible. Tier 8 skills can't be stolen. The binding is too strong. What are you? Kael doesn't answer. He just raises his hand, and the 4 knives turn in midair, pointing at their former master. Marcus tries to run. The knives are faster. They pierce his back, his legs, his neck. Not enough to kill instantly. Enough to make him fall. Enough to make him helpless. Kael stands over him, feeling Blade Dance burning through his consciousness, like acid. He can't hold a Tier 8 skill for long. His mind isn't strong enough, but he doesn't need long. Tell me where your team is meeting, Kael says quietly. Marcus laughs, blood bubbling from his lips. You think I'd betray them? The Syndicate will kill me for losing my skill anyway. I'm already dead. Wrong answer. Kael uses Blade Dance to control the knives inside Marcus's body, moving them slightly, just enough to cause excruciating pain without killing. Marcus screams. Kael asks again. Marcus refuses. More pain, more screaming. This goes on for 5 minutes before Marcus breaks and gives up the location. Kael kills him quickly after that. Then he collapses against the alley wall, letting Blade Dance dissolve, feeling the relief of its absence. His nose is bleeding. His head is splitting. Tier 8 skills are too much for him. He needs to level up. He needs to get stronger. But the system won't let him. He has no skill of his own. No way to gain experience. No way to grow, unless he takes what he needs from others. That night, armed with the information Marcus provided, Kael attacks the Silver Fang Syndicate's meeting point. All 10 members are there, planning their next move. Kael has spent the entire day stealing skills, collecting an arsenal of temporary powers. Shadow Step, Stone Armor, Enhanced Reflexes, Firebolt, Ice Shield, Wind Manipulation, 6 different abilities swirling inside him, fighting for space, burning through his sanity. He can barely think straight. The skills are too many, too chaotic. But he doesn't need to think. He just needs to destroy. He strikes without warning. Shadow Step gets him inside their perimeter undetected. Firebolt creates chaos, explosions of flame forcing them to scatter. Ice Shield blocks their counterattacks. Wind Manipulation throws them off balance. Stone Armor keeps him alive when they land hits. Enhanced Reflexes lets him dance between their attacks like a ghost. The battle is chaos. Pure, beautiful, deadly chaos. Kael moves through the Silver Fang operatives like a storm given human form. Every time they try to corner him, he steals another skill. Every time they adapt to his tactics, he changes approach. He's unpredictable, unstoppable, inevitable. One by one, they fall. Some die from their own skills turned against them. Some collapse powerless, unable to process the loss of their abilities. Some flee when they realize they're fighting something beyond their comprehension. By the time the sun rises, 7 Silver Fang Syndicate members are dead. 3 have escaped, broken and traumatized, spreading stories of the monster who killed Marcus Vale and dismantled an entire hunting party alone. Kael stands in the center of the carnage, covered in blood that isn't his, barely conscious. All the stolen skills drained from his body. He's empty again, weak again, human again. But the message is sent. The Hollow isn't prey. The Hollow is the predator. And every guild that comes for him will pay in blood. The Silver Fang Syndicate withdraws all remaining bounty hunters. Their official statement claims they're reassessing the threat level. The truth is simpler. They're terrified. Marcus Vale was one of their best, a level 934 assassin with years of experience and a tier 8 skill. The Hollow killed him and used his own ability to slaughter his team. If Marcus couldn't stop him, who could? Other guilds take notice. The bounty doesn't disappear, but fewer people are willing to claim it. The risk-to-reward ratio is wrong. Yes, 500,000 gold is life-changing money, but you have to be alive to spend it. And too many corpses prove that hunting the Hollow is a death sentence. But 3 major guilds refuse to back down. The Crimson Advent Guild, because Cassian Drymar has personal reasons and unlimited resources. The Ironclaw Mercenaries, because their reputation depends on never refusing a contract. And the Royal Guard, because the king himself has taken interest in someone who can steal skills and destabilize the entire power structure of the kingdom. The Royal Guard is different from the other guilds. They're government-sanctioned at the highest level, answering only to the throne. Their members are elite, carefully selected, extensively trained. Their average level is above 2,000. Their leaders exceed level 5,000. They have access to rare skills, legendary equipment, and tactical support that mercenary guilds can only dream of. And they're coming for Kael with the full authority of the crown behind them. The first Royal Guard patrol enters the slum district 3 weeks after the Bronze Fangs incident, 6 members. Levels ranging from 1,147 to 2,531. Skills including Lightning Barrage, Earth Manipulation, Gravity Well, Healing Touch, Tactical Analysis, and Perfect Guard. They're not here to kill Kael. They're here to capture him. Alive, intact, valuable. They underestimate him anyway. Kael has changed over the past 3 weeks. He's no longer the scared street kid who watched Mira die. He's learned to embrace what he is. A monster, a weapon, a necessary evil in a world built on power and cruelty. He's learned to plan, to think tactically, to use the environment and information as weapons just as deadly as stolen skills. He knows the Royal Guard is coming before they enter his territory. Street informants loyal to him, kids he's protected from guild exploitation, bring him information. He knows their formation, their route, their capabilities. Most importantly, he knows their weakness. They're following rules. They have protocols. They're trying to minimize civilian casualties and property damage because they represent the crown. Those rules will get them killed. Kael sets his trap in the industrial district, an area filled with abandoned warehouses and rusted machinery. He's already stolen skills from 3 different targets that morning. Shadow Step for mobility, Iron Will for mental resistance, and most importantly, Explosion Touch, a tier 7 skill he took from a demolitions expert. Anything he touches with, his right hand can be turned into a bomb with variable detonation time. The Royal Guard Patrol enters the warehouse district at noon, moving in tight formation, checking every corner, every shadow. They're professional, disciplined, but they're looking for a target that doesn't want to be found until it's too late. Kael has spent the morning touching structural supports throughout the warehouse. Pillars, beams, load-bearing walls. Each one is now a bomb waiting to detonate. He's turned the entire building into a death trap. When the patrol reaches the center of the largest warehouse, Kael triggers the explosions remotely using the skill's mental command function. The building comes apart in a coordinated sequence. Supports explode, walls collapse, the ceiling caves in. Tons of steel and concrete rain down on the Royal Guard members. Most of them survive because of their high levels and defensive skills. But survival isn't the same as victory. They're separated, disoriented, buried under rubble. Perfect Guard activates automatically, creating barriers that keep them from being crushed. Earth Manipulation tries to clear debris. Healing Touch works to repair injuries. That's when Kael attacks. He appears from Shadow Step next to the member with Gravity Well, a tier 8 skill that can manipulate gravitational fields. Before she can react, his hand is on her wrist. Pull. The skill resists hard, incredibly hard, but Kael has learned how to push through that resistance. He's stolen tier 8 skills before. He knows the pain. He endures it. Gravity. Well transfers. To him. The woman collapses, screaming, feeling the absence of a skill she's had since childhood. Kael immediately uses it, reversing gravity in a localized area around 3 of the other guards. They float helplessly into the air, unable to find purchase, their skills useless without solid ground. The member with lightning barrage fires at Kael from behind cover. Bolts of electricity tear through the air, each one capable of killing a normal person instantly. But Kael releases gravity well and activates iron will, using the mental resistance skill to push through the pain as electricity courses through his body. It hurts. It's agony. But iron will keeps him conscious, keeps him moving. He uses shadow step to close the distance, appearing directly behind the lightning barrage user. Touch. Pull. The skill transfers. Kael turns and unleashes lightning barrage at the 3 guards still floating in the air from the earlier gravity well. They can't dodge, can't defend properly without leverage. The lightning tears through them, not killing because their levels are too high, but severely injuring. The patrol leader, level 2531 with perfect guard, finally breaks through the rubble. His skill creates an impenetrable barrier that blocks all attacks for short periods. He's the most dangerous one, the one Kael has been avoiding. But avoidance only works for so long. Surrender now, the leader commands, his voice amplified by a skill. You're surrounded. Reinforcements are coming. You can't win this. Kael laughs. It's a hollow, broken sound. Reinforcements? Good. Send more. I'll take their skills too. He charges directly at perfect guard. The barrier activates, golden and shimmering, blocking Kael's path. Most attacks would bounce off harmlessly. Most people would retreat and try a different approach. But Kael doesn't attack the barrier, he touches it. Perfect guard is a skill. Skills are energy constructs bound to a person's soul. And Kael can steal energy constructs. He's never tried stealing an active defensive skill before, but desperation drives innovation. He focuses everything he has on that barrier, reaching not for the leader, but for the skill maintaining it. Pull. Pull harder. Pull until something breaks. The barrier flickers, weakens. The leader's eyes go wide with shock. That's impossible. You can't steal an active skill. The connection is too strong when it's being used. Kael pulls harder. Blood drips from his nose. His vision blurs. This is beyond his limit, beyond what his mind can handle. But he doesn't stop. Can't stop. Won't stop. Perfect guard breaks. The barrier dissolves. The skill transfers to Kael in a rush of golden light. The leader collapses, suddenly vulnerable, his impenetrable defense gone. Kael activates perfect guard himself, creating a barrier just as the member with earth manipulation tries to impale him with stone spikes from the ground. The spikes shatter against golden light. Kael advances. Touch. Pull. Earth manipulation. Transfers. Then he turns to the member with tactical analysis, a support skill that predicts enemy movements. Touch. Pull. Stolen. In less than 5 minutes, Kael has dismantled an entire Royal Guard patrol. 6 elite members reduced to powerless, broken shadows of themselves. 3 are critically injured. 2 are unconscious. 1 is trying to crawl away, begging for mercy. Kael stands over the patrol leader, feeling 4 high-level skills burning through his consciousness simultaneously. He can't hold them much longer. His mind is fracturing. Blood is pouring from his nose and ears. But he needs to make sure they understand. Tell the king, Kael says through gritted teeth. Tell him that I'm not a weapon he can control. I'm not a tool he can use. I'm what happens when the system breaks people until they have nothing left but rage. And if he keeps sending people after me, I'll send them all back empty. He releases the skills, letting them dissolve, feeling the blessed relief of their absence. Then he disappears into the ruins before reinforcements arrive. the attack on the Royal Guard patrol changes everything. It's no longer just guilds hunting a dangerous criminal. It's now a matter of crown authority. The king himself issues a royal decree. The Hollow is to be captured alive by any means necessary. The bounty increases to 1 million gold. Every guild in the kingdom is mobilized. Every city puts up wanted posters. Every guard checkpoint is looking for him. But something unexpected happens. Some people start calling Kael a hero. Street kids whisper his name like a prayer. Failed. Awakeners see him as proof that the system isn't absolute. People who've been trampled by guild authority for years start telling stories about the Hollow, the boy who fought back against a world designed to keep him powerless. Songs appear in taverns, crude poems scrawled on walls. The Skill Thief ballad becomes popular in the slum districts, singing about a boy who steals from the strong and makes them weak. It's propaganda. It's myth-making. It's dangerous. And Kael hates it. He's not a hero. He's a monster doing monstrous things for selfish reasons. He's not fighting for justice or equality. He's fighting because the alternative is slavery or death. The songs romanticize his actions, but every person he's killed haunts him. Every skill he's stolen leaves a mark on his soul. But the legends grow anyway. The Hollow becomes larger than life. Parents scare children with stories of the boy who can take your skills if you touch him. Guild members check over their shoulders constantly, paranoid. The kingdom's power structure, so stable for centuries, begins to crack under the weight of one impossible person. Kael realizes that he's become exactly what Cassian feared. Not just a threat to one guild, a threat to the entire system. Every skilled person in the kingdom is now vulnerable. Every high-level fighter can be reduced to nothing with a single touch. The hierarchy that separates the worthy from the worthless means nothing if someone can steal your worth in seconds. He's proven that power isn't permanent, that levels aren't everything, that the system can be beaten by someone it never accounted for. And that revelation is more dangerous than any army. Guilds start implementing new protocols. No physical contact with suspects, ranged attacks only. Kill-on-sight orders for the Hollow. They're adapting, learning, getting smarter about how they hunt him. The net is closing again, tighter than before, more organized, more deadly. But Kael is adapting too. He's learned to store multiple skills longer by training his mental endurance. He's learned to combine abilities in creative ways. He's learned to read people, predict movements, exploit psychological weaknesses. Every battle teaches him something. Every stolen skill adds to his understanding. He's becoming what the legends say he is, not through leveling up like normal people, but through pure adaptation, through suffering and survival and refusing to die. He's evolving in ways the system never intended, becoming something new, something terrifying. The Hollow's legend is complete, and now the real war begins. Kael spends 2 weeks planning his next move. He's tired of being hunted, tired of reacting instead of acting, tired of letting the guilds control the pace of this war. If he's going to survive, if he's going to win, he needs to take the fight directly to them. He needs to prove that he's not just a threat to individual hunters, he's a threat to their entire infrastructure. He needs to attack the Crimson Advent Guild directly, and he knows exactly where to hit them. The Crimson Advent training facility sits on the northern edge of Ashvale City, a massive compound where the guild trains its newest recruits. 50 young members at any given time, fresh from the academy, levels ranging from 100 to 400. They're being taught combat techniques, tactical coordination, skill enhancement. They're the future of the guild. The next generation of enforcers, who will maintain Crimson Advent's dominance for decades to come. Kael is going to destroy that future. He knows it's a terrible idea. The facility is heavily guarded. Multiple instructors with levels exceeding 1/500, defensive enchantments on the walls, alarm systems connected directly to guild headquarters. If he attacks, he'll have minutes before overwhelming reinforcements arrive. Minutes to accomplish what should take hours. But Kael has learned something important over the past months. He doesn't need hours if he's willing to be ruthless. He doesn't need to kill everyone if he can break them in ways that matter more than death. He's going to steal the skills of every single person in that facility. Every recruit. Every instructor. 50 young guild members will wake up powerless, their carefully cultivated abilities gone, their futures destroyed. The instructors who trained them will be empty, their authority dissolved, and the Crimson Advent Guild will understand that nowhere is safe from him. The moral weight of this plan crushes him. These aren't the people who killed Mira. Most of these recruits are just kids trying to make something of themselves in a world that worships power. They didn't choose to be born into this system. They're just trying to survive it like everyone else. But they chose to join the guild that burned a 12-year-old girl alive for sport. They chose to wear the crimson and black uniform. They chose to be part of the machine that crushes people like Kael. And choices have consequences. He tells himself this over and over as he prepares. He's not a hero. He's not even a good person anymore. He's just someone who refuses to die quietly. Someone who's decided that if the world is going to be cruel, he'll be crueler. Someone who's learned that mercy is a luxury only the powerful can afford. Kael spends 3 days gathering the skills he'll need for this. Shadow step from a thief. Enhanced reflexes from a mercenary. Iron will from a mental discipline trainer. Night vision from a scout. And most importantly, mass paralysis from an instructor at a different academy. A Tier 7 crowd control skill that can freeze multiple targets simultaneously. Mass paralysis is the key to everything. It's what will let him immobilize the entire facility long enough to systematically steal from everyone. Without it, the plan is impossible. With it, he has a chance. The skill cost him dearly. The instructor was level 1342, cautious and paranoid. After hearing stories about the Hollow, Kael had to stalk her for 4 days, waiting for a moment of vulnerability. When he finally struck, she fought back hard, managing to activate her skill and freeze him temporarily before he completed the theft. He barely escaped before her backup arrived, but he got what he needed. On the 5th night, Kael approaches the Crimson Advent training facility under cover of darkness. He's using Shadow Step to remain invisible, slipping past the outer guards, avoiding the enchanted detection wards by staying in natural shadows rather than magical ones. The facility is large, multiple buildings arranged around a central courtyard. Dormitories for the recruits, training halls, administrative offices, instructor quarters. Kael heads for the dormitories first. That's where the recruits sleep. That's where they're most vulnerable, most helpless. Most like he was when Dorian Hale killed Mira. The parallel makes him sick, but he doesn't stop. He enters the first dormitory building through a 2nd-floor window, moving silently through the halls. Night vision lets him see perfectly in the darkness. He can hear the recruits breathing in their rooms, sleeping peacefully, dreaming of their futures, unaware that their lives are about to change forever. Kael reaches the common room where the dormitories converge. It's a large open space with multiple hallways branching off to individual sleeping quarters. Perfect. Central location. Maximum coverage for mass paralysis. He activates the skill. A wave of invisible force radiates outward from his body, passing through walls, flooding through the entire building. In their rooms, recruits freeze mid-breath. Some were rolling over, in their sleep. Some were getting up to use the bathroom. All of them stopped moving, their bodies locked in place by paralytic energy, unable to scream, unable to resist, unable to do anything but feel what's happening. Kael moves quickly. He goes, room to room, touching each paralyzed recruit, pulling their skills into himself briefly before letting them flow away. He's not keeping the abilities. He doesn't need them. He just needs to take them, to break these people, to leave them empty. Firebolt, enhanced strength, minor shield, stone skin, water manipulation, ice dart, wind step, lightning touch. Skill after skill flows through him in a constant stream, each one burning through his consciousness for seconds before draining away. His nose bleeds continuously. His head pounds. His body screams at him to stop. But he doesn't stop. Can't stop. Won't stop. 20 recruits in the first dormitory. All of them stripped of their skills within 15 minutes. When mass paralysis finally wears off and they can move again, they'll discover the horrible truth. They're powerless now. Everything they worked for, everything they sacrificed for, everything they based their identity on is gone. The skills will come back. Kael knows this. After a few hours, maybe a day, the stolen abilities will return to their original owners. But the psychological damage is permanent. The knowledge that your skill can be taken, that your power isn't truly yours, that you're vulnerable in ways you never imagined. That trauma doesn't heal. Kael moves to the second dormitory, activates mass paralysis again, systematically drains another 30 recruits. He's moving mechanically now, emotionally numb, refusing to think about what he's doing, refusing to acknowledge the screaming voices in his head that tell him this is wrong, this is evil, this makes him exactly like the people he hates. He finishes with the dormitories and moves to the instructor quarters. This is more dangerous. Instructors have higher levels, stronger skills, better defensive capabilities. But they're also asleep, confident in the facility's security, unaware that the Hollow is in their home. Kael activates mass paralysis in the instructor building. The skill is weaker now, strained from multiple uses, but it still works. 7 instructors freeze in their beds, levels ranging from 1,287 to 1,956. Skills including advanced swordsmanship, tactical command, flame barrage, earth wall, lightning chain, healing wave, and battle meditation. These are valuable skills, powerful skills, skills that could help Kael survive future encounters. But holding high-level abilities for extended periods destroys his mind. He learned that lesson with Blade Dance and Gravity Well. So he takes each skill briefly, feels its power, then lets it drain away immediately. He's not building an arsenal. He's performing psychological warfare. The 7th instructor, the one with battle meditation, a Tier 8 support skill that enhances combat performance, wakes up partially during the theft. Battle meditation gives mental resistance as a secondary effect, letting him push through mass paralysis slightly, his eyes open. He sees Kael standing over him, hand on his wrist, stealing his most precious possession. "Please," the instructor whispers, tears streaming down his face. "Not that skill. It's all I have. I've trained with it for 30 years. It's part of my soul. Please." Kael looks at him. Really looks at him. Sees a man in his 50s, graying hair, calloused hands from decades of training students, fear and desperation in his eyes. A human being. Not a monster. Not an enemy. Just a person who happened to be born into a cruel system and did his best to survive it. Kael steals the skill anyway. Battle meditation flows into him, bringing with it echoes of the instructor's memories. Training sessions, failed students, successful graduations, pride in his work, love for his guild, belief that what he's doing matters, that he's building a better future. The memories make Kael want to vomit, but he completes the theft and moves on. The instructor collapses back onto his bed, sobbing silently, feeling the absence of something he's had longer than Kael has been, alive. When Kael exits the instructor quarters, he's barely human anymore. His mind is fragmenting from the sheer number of skills he's channeled. His body is breaking down from the strain. Blood is leaking from his nose, his ears, his eyes. He's pushed himself beyond safe limits, beyond sane limits, beyond human limits. But he's not done. One more target, the most important one. The facility's commander, Instructor Captain Helena Cross, Level 2, 847. Skill: perfect coordination, a Tier 9 legendary ability that allows the user to synchronize the movements and skills of multiple people, turning individuals into a perfectly coordinated unit. It's the skill that makes Crimson Advent's group tactics so deadly. It's the skill that trains recruits to work as seamless teams rather than solo fighters. And it's the skill that's housed in the administrative building at the center of the compound, where Helena sleeps in her private quarters, protected by enhanced wards and personal guards. Kael approaches the building knowing this is suicide. His stolen skills are nearly depleted. Mass paralysis has maybe one more use left before it drains completely. He's injured, exhausted, operating on pure willpower and spite. The guards will detect him, the alarms will trigger, reinforcements will arrive. He'll be surrounded with no way out. But if he can steal perfect coordination from Helena Cross, if he can take a Tier 9 legendary skill from one of the guild's most respected leaders, the psychological impact will be devastating. The Crimson Advent Guild will never feel safe again. Their members will sleep with fear. Their recruits will question whether their skills can protect them. Their entire power structure will crack. Worth dying for? Maybe not. But Kael stopped caring about his own survival the night Mira died. He's been living on borrowed time ever since. If he goes out, he's going to go out, making sure everyone remembers his name. He enters the administrative building through the roof, using the last remnants of Shadow Step to bypass the ground-level defenses. The building is quieter than the dormitories, more secure, more expensive. Helena's quarters are on the top floor, behind reinforced doors with multiple locks and wards. Kael doesn't try to pick the locks. He uses Explosion Touch, a skill he stole earlier and has been saving, to blow the door off its hinges. The explosion is deafening. Alarms scream to life immediately. Guards shout and start running toward his location. He has maybe 90 seconds before they arrive. Helena Cross is awake instantly, her combat instincts sharp despite the surprise. She's a tall woman with steel gray hair and scars covering her arms. Her eyes are hard and calculating. She assesses the situation in a heartbeat. One intruder, young, male, bleeding heavily. The Hollow. She doesn't waste time talking. She activates perfect coordination on herself, her movements becoming flawlessly efficient, faster and more precise than should be possible. She grabs a sword from a weapon rack and attacks in one smooth motion. Kael barely blocks with enhanced reflexes, his stolen skill making him fast enough to avoid the killing blow, but not skilled enough to counter effectively. Helena's sword work is masterful. Decades of experience translated into perfect technique. Every strike is optimal. Every movement is calculated. She's not stronger than him, not faster, just infinitely more skilled. Kael is losing. He knows it. Helena's sword opens a gash across his shoulder, then his ribs, then his thigh. She's cutting him apart methodically, not going for killing blows yet, wearing him down, waiting for him to make a fatal mistake. Perfect. Coordination means she never wastes a movement, never overextends, never gives him an opening. The guards are 30 seconds away. Kael can hear their boots pounding up the stairs. He's out of time, out of options, out of luck. So he does something desperate, something insane, something that might kill him even if it works. He drops his defensive stance entirely, leaves himself completely open. Helena's eyes widen slightly in surprise, but her skill doesn't hesitate. Perfect coordination sees the opening and takes it. Her sword drives toward his heart in a perfect thrust, angled to pierce between his ribs, fatal and unavoidable. Kael doesn't try to block. He steps into the attack, letting the blade pierce his chest, feeling it tear through muscle and scrape against bone. The pain is indescribable. His vision goes white, but the movement brings him close enough to grab Helena's wrist. Skin-to-skin contact, direct connection, pull. Perfect coordination resists like nothing Kael has ever felt. Tier 9. Legendary skill, level 2847 power. It's bound to Helena's soul with chains forged over decades of use. Taking it is like trying to move a star. Impossible. Insane. Deadly. Kael pulls anyway. He pours everything he has into it. Every bit of stolen power still lingering in his system. Every ounce of rage and grief and desperation. Every scrap of willpower that's kept him alive this long. He pulls until blood vessels burst in his eyes. Until his brain feels like it's catching fire. Until something fundamental inside him tears. Perfect coordination breaks free from Helena. The legendary skill floods into Kael in a tsunami of power that threatens to drown his consciousness entirely. He can suddenly feel everything. Every movement in the building. Every person running toward this room. Every heartbeat. Every breath. It's overwhelming. It's magnificent. It's killing him. Helena collapses, the sword falling from her nerveless fingers. She's staring at her hands in absolute horror, feeling the absence of something that's been part of her for 40 years. 40 years of perfect control, perfect execution, perfect coordination. Gone in an instant. Stolen by a dying boy who shouldn't exist. "No," she whispers. "Give it back. Please. It's mine. It's me. Without it, I'm nothing." Kael understands exactly how she feels, because without skills, he's been nothing his entire life. But understanding doesn't equal mercy. Not anymore. He uses perfect coordination on himself, feeling his body move with impossible precision despite the sword still lodged in his chest. He pulls the blade out smoothly, minimizing additional damage, then uses a stolen healing touch ability he took from an instructor earlier. The wound doesn't fully close, but it stops bleeding. Buys him a few more minutes of life. The guards burst into the room. 10 of them. Levels between 800 and 1200. Various combat skills. They see their commander on the floor, powerless and broken. They see the hollow standing over her, covered in blood, barely alive but still moving with unnatural grace. Perfect coordination lets Kael see their attack patterns before they execute them. Lets him move between their strikes like water. Lets him touch 3 of them in rapid succession, stealing their skills mid-combat. The guards don't understand what's happening. One moment they're attacking with practiced teamwork. The next moment, half their formation is powerless, and their enemy is using their own abilities against them. Kael doesn't try to kill them. He doesn't have the strength left. He just needs to escape. He activates mass paralysis one final time, burning out the last reserves of the skill, freezing all 10 guards and Helena in place. Then he stumbles toward the window, crashes through the glass, and falls 2 stories to the courtyard below. The impact should kill him. Would kill anyone without perfect coordination helping them land properly. Kael rolls with the fall, distributing the force, breaking his left arm instead of his spine. Then he's running, or trying to run, his body barely responding to commands. Perfect coordination doing most of the work, keeping him moving when he should be dead. Behind him, the entire facility is waking up. 50 powerless recruits stumbling, out of dormitories, confused and terrified. 7 instructors screaming about stolen skills. Helena Cross lying on her floor, catatonic, unable to process the loss of her legendary ability. Guards shouting into communication crystals, calling for backup from guild headquarters. Kael makes it to the compound wall, uses the last scraps of enhanced reflexes to vault over it. Then he collapses in an alley 3 blocks away, all stolen, skills finally draining from his system, leaving him empty and broken and more dead than alive. Perfect coordination is the last to go. As it fades, Kael feels a profound sense of loss. That skill showed him what he could be if the system had been kind to him. If he'd been allowed to awaken his own abilities. If the world hadn't decided he was worthless before he was born. For those few minutes, he was perfect. Coordinated. Complete. Now he's just Kael again. Powerless. Bleeding. Alone. But alive. Still alive. always still alive. He passes out in the alley, not knowing if he'll wake up. Not particularly caring. He accomplished what he came for. The Crimson Advent Guild's training facility is broken. 50 recruits traumatized. Multiple instructors powerless. Their commander stripped of a legendary skill. The psychological damage is catastrophic. The guild's reputation is shattered. And most importantly, Cassian Drymar now understands that Kael isn't running anymore, isn't hiding anymore, isn't afraid anymore. He's taking the fight directly to the guild's infrastructure, attacking their foundations, destroying their future. This is war. Total war, and Kael just won a major battle. He wakes up 18 hours later in a different location. Someone moved him. Someone stitched his wounds. Someone kept him alive. He opens his eyes expecting to see a guild interrogation room or a prison cell. Instead, he sees a cramped apartment in the slum district. And sitting across from him is a girl, maybe 14 years old, with dark hair and nervous eyes. "You're awake," she says quietly. "Good. I was worried you wouldn't make it. You looked pretty dead when I found you." Kael tries to sit up and immediately regrets it. Every muscle in his body screams. His chest, where Helena's sword pierced him, throbs with deep, aching pain. His broken arm is splinted but still useless. He feels like he's been crushed by a building. "Who are you?" he manages to croak out. "My name is Sarah. I'm nobody. Just another street kid. But I knew Mira. She was my friend before she met you. I heard what happened to her, what that guild enforcer did. And I've been following your story ever since. When I saw you collapse in that alley, I couldn't just leave you there. So I dragged you here. It's not much, but it's safe. For now." Kael stares at her. Another connection. Another person who might die because of him. He should tell her to leave, to stay away, to forget she ever saw him. But he's too tired, too broken, too grateful for the small kindness of not dying alone in an alley. "Thank you," he says instead. Sarah nods. "The whole city is talking about what you did. The Crimson Advent facility. 50 people powerless in one night. A legendary skill stolen. Everyone's terrified. But some people are celebrating. Street kids. Failed awakeners. People the system forgot. They're saying you're proving that the guilds aren't untouchable. That power isn't permanent. That maybe things can change. I'm not a revolutionary," Kael says bitterly. "I'm just trying to survive." Maybe. But sometimes survival looks like revolution to people who are dying. You've given them hope, whether you want it or not. Kael closes his eyes. Hope. That's the last thing he wanted to give anyone. Hope gets people killed. Hope makes them take risks they shouldn't take. Hope is dangerous in a world designed to crush anyone who dares to dream. But maybe that's the point. Maybe crushing hope is how the system maintains control. Keep people desperate and hopeless, and they'll never fight back. They'll accept their place. They'll believe the lie that power determines worth. What happens when someone proves the lie wrong? What happens when hope spreads like wildfire through the people the system abandoned? Kael doesn't know, but he's about to find out. Because word of the facility attack has reached every corner of the kingdom. Every guild knows now. Every skilled person understands they're vulnerable, and every powerless person wonders if maybe, just maybe, they don't have to stay powerless forever. The news reaches Cassian Drymar in his private chambers. He's reading the reports from Helena Cross, from the guards, from the recruits. 50 young members stripped of their skills simultaneously. His most experienced instructors violated. His second in command, a holder of a Tier 9 legendary skill, reduced to nothing by a 16-year-old street rat with no levels. The reports describe something that shouldn't be possible. Mass skill theft. Rapid absorption and deployment of multiple abilities, Combat effectiveness that rivals trained veterans despite having no formal training. And most disturbing of all, the psychological warfare. The choice to leave people alive and broken rather than dead. The deliberate message, nowhere is safe. No one is untouchable. Power is an illusion. Cassian's hands are shaking as he sets down the papers. Not from fear, from rage, from humiliation. He's level 8,134, one of the strongest people in the kingdom. He commands thousands of guild members. He has resources most people can only dream of. And he's being dismantled by a child. No, not a child. A weapon, a calamity, a fundamental threat to everything the guild system represents. Kael Vesper has to die. Not captured, not controlled, dead, permanently, completely. No possibility of escape or resurrection. Cassian makes a decision that will change everything. He's going to stop trying to capture Kael alive. Stop trying to use him for his daughter's sake. The risk is too great. The damage is too severe. Kael has proven he can't be contained or controlled, so he has to be eliminated. And if that means bringing in the absolute best killers in the kingdom, people who make the royal guard look like amateurs, people whose services cost fortunes, and whose success rate is absolute, then that's what Cassian will do. He reaches for a communication crystal and activates a very specific frequency. A frequency reserved for desperate situations, for threats that normal enforcers can't handle, for targets that require overwhelming, absolute, lethal force. The crystal flares. A voice answers, cold and professional. This is Executor Command. State your authorization code and target designation. Cassian takes a deep breath. What he's about to do will bankrupt the guild's emergency funds. Will require justification to the council. Will be seen as an admission that regular forces have failed. But he doesn't care. Pride means nothing compared to survival. Authorization code, Crimson Alpha 79. Target designation, The Hollow. Real name Kael Vesper. Classification, Omega level threat. Contract type, immediate termination. No capture. No negotiation. Lethal force authorized. Budget, unlimited. There's a pause on the other end. Then, understood. Executor team will deploy within 24 hours. Target will be eliminated within 1 week. Payment will be 1,500,000. Gold on completion. This conversation is now sealed under executor protocols. Thank you for your business. The crystal goes dark. Cassian sits back in his chair, feeling the weight of what he's just done. The executors are the kingdom's secret weapon. Elite assassins trained from childhood. Levels above 5,000. Skills that most people have never heard of. Success rate, absolute. They've never failed a contract in 300 years of operation. Kael Vesper is about to face something far worse than guild enforcers or royal guards. He's about to face the kingdom's apex predators. And when they find him, all his stolen skills, all his cunning, all his determination won't be enough, because the executors don't hunt alone. They hunt in coordinated packs, and they specialize in killing things that shouldn't be able to die. Cassian looks at a portrait on his wall. His daughter, smiling, forever captured in a moment before she learned she was defective. He whispers an apology to her. An apology for giving up on the one chance to make her whole. An apology for choosing the guild over her happiness. But some threats are too dangerous to keep alive, even for love, even for family, even for hope. The Hollow must die, and the executors never fail. The news of what happened at the Crimson Advent training facility spreads through Ashvale City like wildfire. Within hours, every tavern, every street corner, every guild hall is buzzing with the story. 50 recruits stripped of their skills in one night. Instructors violated. A legendary Tier 9 ability stolen from Helena Cross herself. The details vary depending on who's telling the story, but the core truth remains the same. The Hollow attacked the heart of one of the kingdom's most powerful guilds and walked away alive. Some versions of the story claim he killed dozens of guards. Others say he fought Helena Cross in single combat and defeated her through superior skill. A few even suggest he's not human at all, but some kind of ancient spirit seeking revenge on the guild system. The truth doesn't matter. The legend is what people believe. And people believe the Hollow is unstoppable. The guild's response is immediate and panicked. Emergency meetings are called. New protocols are implemented across every major guild in the kingdom. No physical contact with suspects under any circumstances. Ranged combat only. Lethal force authorized for anyone matching the Hollow's description. Kill first, identify later. But the damage is already done. The psychological impact is devastating. Guild members who once walked the streets with confidence now check over their shoulders constantly. High-level fighters who thought themselves invincible wonder if their skills can be taken. The entire power structure of the kingdom, built on the assumption that skills are permanent and levels determine worth, is cracking under the weight of one impossible person. The bounties multiply like rabbits. Crimson Advent offers 1 million gold for confirmed termination. The Royal Guard matches it. Smaller guilds add their own rewards. By the end of the week, the total bounty on Kael Vesper's head exceeds 3 million gold. Dead only. No capture. Attempts. No negotiations. Just death. But something unexpected happens. The bounty hunters who were so eager before are now hesitant. 3 million gold means nothing if you're dead. And everyone knows what happens to people who hunt the Hollow. They come back empty if they come back at all. The Bronze Fangs lost 2 members. The Silver Fang Syndicate lost 7, including a level 934 assassin. The Royal Guard lost an entire elite patrol. The list of casualties keeps growing, and the list of volunteers keeps shrinking. The guilds realize they need something. More than bounties, they need fear to turn into action. So they start spreading counter-stories, tales designed to minimize the Hollow's threat. They claim his skill theft is temporary and harmless. They say he's just a coward who runs from real fights. They emphasize that he has no levels, no formal training, no real power of his own. Just a parlor trick that won't work against truly skilled fighters. Some people believe it. Most don't. Because the corpses tell a different story. Because powerless guild members are walking proof that his ability is real. Because fear is more contagious than propaganda. In the slum districts, something entirely different is happening. The people the system abandoned, the ones with no skills and no hope, are whispering Kael's name like a prayer. Street kids draw symbols on walls, crude representations of an empty hand reaching out to take. Failed awakeners gather in secret meetings, discussing what the Hollow's existence means for them. Could they fight back? Could they resist? Songs appear in the taverns of the poor districts. Crude ballads sung by people who've never had power, but have always dreamed of taking it from those who do. The Skill Thief's Lament becomes popular, a melancholy tune about a boy who lost everything and decided to take everything in return. It's not heroic. It's not uplifting. It's just honest. And that honesty resonates with people who've spent their lives being lied to about their worth. Kael hears these songs from his hiding place. Sarah brings him news from the streets, keeping him informed while he recovers from his wounds. Each story makes him feel sicker. They're making him into a symbol, a revolutionary, a champion of the powerless. But he's not any of those things. He's just a broken kid who's good at hurting people and refuses to die. They're calling you a hero in the slum districts, Sarah tells him one evening. There's talk of people organizing, planning resistance against guild exploitation. They think you've proven that the system can be beaten. I'm not a hero, Kael says, his voice flat and dead. I'm a murderer. I've killed more than 20 people. I've traumatized hundreds. I attacked children at that training facility. Kids who never did anything to me. I'm the villain in this story, not the hero. Maybe, Sarah says quietly. But villains don't usually fight systems that burn 12-year-old girls alive for sport. Villains don't usually make powerful people afraid. The guilds are evil, Kael. They've been evil for generations. And you're the first person who's ever made them bleed. That means something. It means I'm going to get a lot of people killed. Everyone who associates with me. Everyone who believes in me. Everyone who thinks they can be like me. They're all going to die because I've given them false hope. Better to die fighting than live on your knees. Kael wants to argue, wants to explain that survival is always better than martyrdom, that dying for a cause doesn't change anything, that the system is too strong, too entrenched, too absolute to be beaten by street kids with dreams. But he doesn't have the energy. And somewhere deep down, he knows she's right. Living on your knees isn't really living at all. While Kael recovers, the guilds make their move. But not the obvious one. Not the frontal assault or the coordinated manhunt. Something more insidious, more effective, more terrifying. They start targeting the people around him. The street kids in the slum district who might have information. The failed awakeners who've been singing his praises. The merchants who might have sold him supplies. Anyone who could possibly be connected to. The Hollow becomes a target. Guild enforcers raid apartments in the middle of the night. They interrogate street kids with enhanced intimidation skills. They offer rewards for information, then kill the informants anyway to send a message. The slum district turns into a war zone. Not an open war. A quiet one. A war of disappearances, and whispered warnings and bodies found in alleys. The message is clear. Helping the Hollow means death. Supporting him means your family dies. Even knowing about him puts you at risk. The guilds are turning the entire slum district into hostile territory, forcing the population to choose between the devil they know and the devil who might save them. It works. Some people start cooperating with the guilds, providing information, pointing out suspicious individuals. The resistance that was forming crumbles under sustained pressure. The songs stop being sung in public. The symbols get scrubbed off walls. Fear wins like it always does. Sarah brings this news to Kael with tears in her eyes. They killed Marcus, the kid who was painting your symbol on the warehouse walls. They didn't even interrogate him, just killed him as an example. He was 10 years old, Kael. 10. Something breaks inside Kael when he hears that. Not breaks like when Mira died. Breaks differently. Breaks into something harder, colder, more absolute. The guilds want to make this personal? They want to punish innocents to get to him? Fine. He'll show them what personal really means. He's been trying to avoid civilian casualties. Trying to target only guild members and enforcers. Trying to maintain some shred of morality in an immoral war. But morality is a luxury, and luxuries get children killed. If the guilds want total war, he'll give them total war. Kael starts building something he never intended to build. A network, not a guild, not an organization, just a loose collection of people who have nothing left to lose. Street kids who've lost family to guild violence, failed awakeners who've been crushed by the system, merchants who've been exploited by protection rackets, criminals who hate the guilds more than they love order. He offers them a simple deal. Help him hurt the guilds, and he'll protect them. Give him information, resources, safe houses, and he'll give them revenge. It's not heroic. It's not noble. It's just pragmatic. The enemy of my enemy is my temporary ally. The network grows faster than expected. Turns out there are a lot of people in Asheville City who hate the guilds, who've been waiting for someone, anyone, to give them a chance to fight back. Kael becomes the spark that ignites their anger, the excuse they've been waiting for. Within 2 weeks, he has eyes everywhere, informants in taverns, contacts in merchant guilds, even a few low-level members of minor guilds who are sick of being treated as expendable. Information flows to him like water. Guild patrol routes, shift changes, vulnerable targets, weaknesses in their security. Kael uses this information ruthlessly. He starts hitting guild supply lines. Warehouses full of equipment burn in the night. Weapon shipments disappear. Communication crystals get destroyed. He's not trying to kill anymore, though deaths happen. He's trying to bleed them, make every operation expensive, make every patrol dangerous, make them understand that control comes at a cost they can't afford. The guilds respond by escalating. More enforcers deployed, more security measures, more violence against suspected sympathizers. The cycle spirals upward. Each atrocity by the guilds creates more people willing to help Kael. Each attack by Kael's network justifies more guild violence. It's unsustainable. Eventually, something has to break. That something is the Black Iron Coalition, a large mercenary guild that's been watching the conflict from the sidelines, waiting to see which way the wind blows. They make a public announcement that shakes the entire city. They're offering Kael membership, full guild support, resources, training, protection. In exchange for his exclusive services, they want to hire the Hollow as their secret weapon, use his ability to steal skills from rival guilds, turn him from a terrorist into a sanctioned operative. It's brilliant strategy. If Kael accepts, he becomes their property. They control him, use him, eventually dispose of him when he's no longer useful. If he refuses, they can claim they tried to resolve the situation peacefully and now have justification to hunt him alongside everyone else. The offer puts Kael in an impossible position. Accept and lose his freedom. Refuse and add another powerful guild to his list of enemies. There's no good choice. Just degrees of terrible. He refuses. Obviously. He didn't fight this hard to become someone's tool. Didn't survive this long to surrender his independence. The Black Iron Coalition issues a statement expressing disappointment, then immediately joins the manhunt with enthusiasm. Now, every major guild in the kingdom is actively hunting him. The net is complete, total, absolute. But Kael isn't the same scared street kid he was 3 months ago. He's learned, adapted, evolved. He knows how to disappear, how to strike from unexpected angles, how to turn the guild's strengths into weaknesses. He's become what they always feared he'd become. Not just a skill thief, a symbol, a movement, a threat to the entire system. The kingdom is now split into 2 factions. Those who support the guilds and want the Hollow dead, and those who see him as proof that power isn't permanent, that the system can be challenged, that maybe, just maybe, things don't have to stay the way they've always been. Kael doesn't lead the second faction, doesn't even particularly like them. But he's become their icon anyway, their rallying point, their hope. And hope, as he's learning, is more dangerous than any weapon. Because you can kill a person. But you can't kill an idea. And the idea that skills can be taken, that power can be stolen, that the weak can defeat the strong, is spreading through the kingdom like a plague. The guilds understand this. They know that killing Kael won't be enough anymore. They need to destroy the idea of him. Prove that his way leads only to death and suffering. Make an example so brutal, so complete, that no one will ever dare to follow in his footsteps. That's why they called the executors, the kingdom's apex predators, the ones who end threats that can't be ended by conventional means. And the executors are coming, already in the city, already hunting, already closing in. Kael knows this because Sarah brings him information from a contact in the Royal Guard. The executors have been deployed, 3 of them, levels above 5,000, skills that most people have never even heard of. They're not coming to capture or negotiate. They're coming to erase him from existence. For the first time since Mira died, Kael feels real fear. Not fear of death. He's made peace with dying. Fear of failure. Fear that his death won't mean anything. Fear that the guilds will use his corpse as proof that resistance is futile. That the system always wins. That power always triumphs. He looks at Sarah, at this 14-year-old girl who risked everything to save him, who's been helping him despite knowing it will probably get her killed. He thinks about Mira, about her dream of getting strong and helping people. He thinks about Marcus, the 10-year-old who died for painting a symbol on a wall. All these people who believed in something better. All these people who died because the system is cruel and arbitrary and designed to crush hope. All these people who deserved more than the world gave them. Kael makes a decision. If the executors are coming, he won't run, won't hide, won't try to survive. He'll make his last stand count. Make it mean something. Make sure that when he dies, the story that spreads isn't about a criminal getting what he deserved, but about someone who fought until there was nothing left to fight with. The Hollow's legend is complete. And now, it's time to see if legends can survive meeting their end. 3 months. That's how long it took for Kael Vesper to go from invisible to inevitable. 3 months from the night a Crimson Advent enforcer burned Mira alive to the moment he became the most wanted person in the entire kingdom. 3 months of blood and stolen skills and impossible survival. 3 months of proving that power isn't permanent and the system isn't absolute. He didn't want any of this. Didn't want to be a legend or a symbol or a threat to the established order. He just wanted to survive. Just wanted one person to show him kindness. Just wanted the world to be a little less cruel. But the world had other plans. And when the world is cruel, sometimes the only response is to be crueler. Kael stands in an abandoned warehouse on the edge of the slum district, preparing for what's coming. The executors will find him soon. They always find their targets. And when they do, he'll fight with everything he has. He'll steal their skills if he can. He'll hurt them if possible. He'll die if necessary. But he won't surrender. Won't beg. Won't give the guilds the satisfaction of seeing him broken. On the floor, beside him is a pile of stolen items. Mira's hair ribbon, dirty and burned. A sketch of her face that Sarah drew from his description. The guild badge he took from Dorian Hale's corpse. Small things. Meaningless things. But they're all he has to remember why this matters. He picks up Mira's ribbon and holds it carefully, remembering her smile when she offered him half her bread, remembering her dream of getting strong and helping people, remembering how she died screaming because someone with power decided her life meant nothing. That's what this is really about. Not revenge, not revolution, not changing the system. Just proving that one person mattered, that Mira's death wasn't meaningless, that the girl who shared her bread with a stranger deserved to be remembered, that the world was worse without her in it. Kael carefully folds the ribbon and places it back, on the floor. Then he looks out the window at the city he's terrorized for 3 months. Ashvale City, where the powerful rule and the powerless suffer, where skills determine worth and levels determine destiny, where a 12-year-old girl can be murdered for entertainment and nobody cares. Except one person cared. One powerless street rat who discovered he could steal the one thing the system valued most, and that person decided that if the world valued power above humanity, he'd show them what happens when their power can be taken away. The guilds will call him a monster, a terrorist, a cautionary tale about what happens when you challenge the natural order. But the people in the slum districts will remember him differently. They'll remember that for 3 months, someone fought back. Someone made the powerful afraid. Someone proved that the system could bleed. That's enough. It has to be enough. Because Kael Vesper knows his story is almost over. The executors are coming. The net is closing. The legend is reaching its end. But the idea will survive. The idea that power can be stolen. That levels aren't everything. That maybe, just maybe, the weak don't have to stay weak forever. And ideas, once planted, are impossible to kill. They grow in the dark places. They spread through whispered conversations. They wait for the right moment to bloom into something. The powerful never saw coming. Kael doesn't know if he'll live to see tomorrow. Doesn't know if his death will change anything, or just be another forgotten tragedy in a city full of tragedies. But he knows one thing with absolute certainty. He mattered. For 3 months, he mattered. And nobody can take that away from him. Not the guilds, not the executors, not even death itself. That's why this story matters. Not because it's heroic or uplifting or has a happy ending, but because it's proof that even in a world designed to crush you, even when the system tells you you're worthless, even when everyone with power says you don't matter, you can still choose to fight back. You can still make them remember your name. You can still prove that you existed and that your existence meant something. Kael Vesper was nobody. Then he became the Hollow. And the kingdom will never forget either version of him. This is just the beginning of his legend. Because legends don't die when their heroes do. They just get bigger, stronger, more dangerous. And somewhere in this kingdom, in a city just like Ashvale, another powerless kid is hearing stories about the skill thief, and wondering, and planning, and getting ready to prove that the system can be beaten. The guilds created their own nightmare the night they killed Mira. They just don't know it yet.